Today we are chatting about 10 new mystery and thriller books set to release sometime this fall, and you are definitely going to want to put them on your to-read list. So grab a hot beverage and your coziest sweater and let's talk books. If you're new here, I'm Valerie Geary. I'm an author and an avid reader, and on this channel I share parts of my creative life to inspire yours. A couple of weeks back we took a bit of a book detour and I shared with you the large stack of books that I was hoping to read this fall. I'm sure it will take me the entire season to get through that stack if I do get through that stack. Let's be honest, I probably won't, but I'm gonna try my hardest. Even with that large stack of books, I'm still out here looking at new releases, trying to find new reads that are enticing to me, which ones I might want to pre-order, which ones I might want to put on hold at my local library, because I'm a firm believer that you can never have too many books to choose from. So let's get into the list. My top 10 most anticipated new releases in the mystery and thriller genre for fall of 2024. I'm going to be sharing these books in the order of their release date, starting with September 3rd. I read Marcy R. Rendon's book Murder on the Red River, which is the first book in the Cash Black Bear series several years ago. It was a book that didn't quite hit the mark for me, but there was something special there. Something about Marcy Rendon's storytelling and her characters that I found really intriguing, but I didn't want to continue with the Cash Black Bear series. Marcy Rendon was a name, however, that I was keeping my eye out for in the new release lists that come out every quarter, every season. We are finally getting a new book from her this fall. The book is called Where They Last Saw Her, and it is not part of the Cash Black Bear series, but it does have very similar themes. Where They Last Saw Her is a novel about a young Indigenous woman who is training for the Boston Marathon. When she is out on a training run, she hears a loud scream. She rushes to see what's going on and finds only tire tracks in the dirt and a beaded earring. And so begins this young Indigenous woman's search to find justice and answers for all the missing women who everyone else has forgotten. The next book that caught my eye also came out on September 3rd. This book is We Came to Welcome You by Vincent Tirado. A married couple buys a house in what appears to be a perfect gated community. We already know that's gonna go wrong, and of course they discover that things are not as they seem. Combine a pushy homeowners association with never-ending microaggressions, social paranoia, a secret journal from one of the residents who went missing, and a series of strange and sinister events. And you have the makings of a supernatural thriller psychological horror mashup that explores the very real pressures of assimilating into a community where you don't really feel like you're gonna fit in. I think it sounds like it could be a really interesting social commentary while also just spine-tingling, creeping me out. The next two books that are on this list that also came out on September 3rd are part of ongoing series. Hopefully you have also heard of and enjoy these series and are going to be excited when I tell you there's a new installment coming. The first one is Death at the Sign of the Rook by Kate Atkinson. This is going to be book 6 in the Jackson Brodie series. I actually have only read one book in the Jackson Brodie series, the first one, Case Histories. I do have another one on my shelf, and it is one of those series that I really want to get back to and read the rest of the installments. Kate Atkinson is one of my favorite authors, but I do tend to read her more historical, literary, standalone, speculative type fiction. I did really enjoy Case Histories, and so I do want to read more in the Jackson Brodie series, but this one, it sounds like all my favorite things wrapped up into one book, and so I might skip ahead, read book 6 before reading the other books in the series. If you have read the Jackson Brodie series, let me know if that's a good idea or not. So in this book, Jackson Brodie is a retired or ex-detective. He is investigating an art heist case, and this leads him into a bigger crime. It also leads him to a magnificent country estate that hosts murder mystery weekends. And that's all I really need to know about this book. Country estate, hosting murder mystery weekends, ex-detective, art heist, Kate Atkinson. I'm very excited about this one. The other series installment that I'm really excited about is Guide Me Home, which is going to be the third and heartbreakingly final installment in the Highway 59 series by Attica Locke. I love Texas Ranger Darren Matthews. He is one of my favorite mystery characters. He is a complicated man with complicated ethics and complicated family ties, and the entire Highway 59 series so far has just been a masterclass in writing layered nuanced, emotional, edge of your seat, literary style mystery detective novels. So I am both excited and sad that there is a new book coming out in this series because it is going to be the last installment. And in this one, Texas Ranger Darren Matthews is being pulled out of early retirement to investigate a missing Black college student who has disappeared from her all-white sorority. Knowing that this is the final book in the series, knowing how Attica Locke writes, knowing how the Highway 59 series has unfolded, I am preparing myself for an emotional roller coaster. Coming out on September 24th is The Hitchcock Hotel by Stephanie Robel. A Hitchcock fanatic and founder of the Grand Hitchcock Hotel invites a group of his former friends, former college friends from a film club to come and have a reunion at his hotel, celebrate the first anniversary of this hotel opening. The blurb doesn't say much more than that, but I have this feeling that this little get-together is gonna be more than just watching scary movies and eating popcorn. Now we're moving on to the books in October. Coming out October 8th is This Cursed House by Del Sandine. This book is described as Southern Gothic horror, so go into it with caution if you are not a horror reader. I do love to dabble in the horror genre, and this one sounds like it could be right up my alley. A young Black woman abandons her life in 1960s Chicago to go work for a mysterious family in New Orleans who believe they have been cursed and who believe that the young woman they have just hired will be able to break that curse. So this woman shows up to the house and of course begins to uncover secrets and begins to find that maybe she is far more entangled in this family and their drama than she would like to be. Confession, I have already put this one on hold at my library in hopes that I will get it before the fall reading season ends because it does sound like the perfect vibe for what I am looking for in terms of my reading season this fall. Another one coming out on October 8th is The Undercurrent by Sarah Sawyer, and this one sounds like it could fit very nicely into the more literary mystery genre, the more literary style of writing. It sounds like it's revolving around a missing persons cold case, that there are dual timelines and multiple perspectives, all things that I really love. Family secrets, obsession, a childhood crush who comes back into a main character's life and drags her back into the town that she doesn't really want to be a part of, to face a past that she would just rather forget. The author of Gone Girl, Gillian Flynn, gave it a pretty nice blurb, so I'm very interested to see how this one might unfold. I will admit to you that I don't often seek out books in translation, but when I saw the book Clean by Aaliyah Trabuco-Zarin on the list of books coming out in the fall, coming out on October 13th, I couldn't resist it. Something about this cover made me click on it, and then I read the blurb, and then I was like, I really need this book. I want to read it. I don't know if it's gonna be any good, but it does sound very interesting. This story revolves around a woman who is hired to come and clean and be a housemaid for a family that has some deep, dark secrets. The young girl in the family ends up dead, and I think this book is the maid's story of how that happened, the unraveling, the unfolding, the layers being peeled back secret by secret by secret, because of course we're not going to get all the answers on the first page. What would be the point of the book then? But I am interested in following that story down whatever rabbit hole we're going down together. Now, Paula Hawkins, author of The Girl on the Train, has a new book coming out this fall called The Blue Hour, and this has got to be one of the season's most buzziest books, so I am sure that if you have looked at any bookish lists recently, you have seen this one on there as a most anticipated book. I am a little surprised to have a Paula Hawkins book on this list because I did not really like The Girl on the Train that much. It was a fun premise, it had a lot of tension, I really kind of enjoyed the ride because the train, get it? But in the end, the ending really didn't hit the mark for me. I read it so long ago that I don't really remember the details of why I didn't enjoy it the way I did, but I just kind of remember picking it up and thinking that I was gonna love it. I mean, everybody was talking about The Girl on the Train. It was the buzzy book. I picked it up, I read it, and I just was like, I don't see it. I don't understand what is it about this book that people are buzzing about. And I think at the time that I read it, I wasn't as familiar with the thriller genre as I am now, and so maybe my expectations were a little bit different in terms of what the book was actually offering. But since that time, Paula Hawkins has come out with a couple of other books, and I haven't really been interested in picking any of them up. This premise, I cannot say no to it. It's set on an island somewhere near Scotland. There's one house, one inhabitant, and only one way out. There's a famous artist, a missing husband, and then a stranger shows up to ruin the peace of the place. I think it would be perfect for when the nights start getting longer and the days start getting shorter and everything starts to feel a little bit close in and claustrophobic. So I am looking forward to this one, and I am putting it on hold at my library today, so that way I can be at the front of the list. So this is my hot tip to you readers. If there is a book that is getting a lot of press before release date and you are wanting to read it and you are wanting to check it out from the library rather than purchase it, I would recommend putting that book on hold before release day. This is a great way to kind of jump to the front of the line, because a lot of people, a lot of the public will wait until the book comes out. Sometimes because they don't hear about it until the book comes out, because the press kind of grows and grows and grows, and then on release day it's kind of all pushed to the forefront, and that's when people start hearing about it, and that's when you see it on TV and the media, that kind of thing. Or, you know, people will have read it and then be talking to their friends about it, and then the whole list just grows bigger and bigger and bigger until you're like number 300 in line. If The Blue Hour sounds like a book that you are wanting to read this season, put it on hold at your library right now. The final book on this list of my most anticipated fall mystery and thrillers is coming out November 5th. This book is The Lake of Lost Girls by Catherine Green. This weaves a story with the narrative structure of a podcast, telling a twisted tale of a missing student and her sister who is searching for answers. So this blurb says, in the present, one sister searches to untangle a complicated web of lies. In the past, the other descends ever deeper into a darkness that will lead to her ultimate fate. So that is one of my favorite narrative structures, the back and forth in time, where one person is kind of investigating what happened to another person, while in the other timeline, that person is moving towards the fated day, the fated hour, the fated moment. Plus, two subjects I really love: sisters and true crime. It is coming out a little bit later than the other ones, but I am gonna keep it on my radar for this season. Now it's your turn. You tell me, which books are you looking forward to reading this fall? They can be mysteries, they can be thrillers, they can be horror, they can be none of the above. Maybe you're a literary fiction fan or a historical fiction fan or romance. Maybe there are books out there that you have had your eye on for a while and you are getting ready to put them on hold at the library. Do it now, don't wait. Chat with me in the comments. Let me know which books you can't wait to read this fall. And if you want to know more about my current fall TBR stack, the books that I am going to be trying to read September, October, and most of November, check out the video here. And again, and always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.